Welcome to Rice TVX. Give me a 5x5 if you can hear me loud and clear. On today's Rice Report, what did Pope Francis know about the banking collapse? What did this guy know? Be sure to take time to smash that like button. We're going to get started just moments away.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in for today's Rice Report. That's right, I am back. I think it's been, a little bit. I think I put out one video in the past 2 weeks. I did travel to Florida. I did some recordings with Mr. Beneficiary, KL. Some people may know him from the Rice Against the Grain content with the legal fiction studies. And I also spoke at the Truth Tour number 3 in St. Petersburg. That was on the 31st of March. And that was that is now available right now on Rice Against the Grain, if you would like to check that out. Now, before we begin, as always, got to do a few quick messages from the sponsors of Rice TVX. And these are the people who make it possible, because I'm telling you, I don't make any money, barely any money off of YouTube, not very much off of Patreon. I am replacing that very soon with this private website. So shout out to Monarch Wallet and Presearch for sponsoring the channel. You can always find information in every video description. Be sure to check them out. Here we go. It is good to be back. I appreciate the 5x5s. I appreciate everybody who has tuned in. I figured since I haven't been putting out videos for the past few weeks or very little content, I did put out a video this past Friday, and that was from one of my recent appearances on Around the Blockchain. So I figured the algorithm is not going to be helping me out here. Just going to have to get that the algorithm restarted. But it is what it is. I've been battling the censorship and shadow banning for 5+ years now, so it's nothing new. But thank you for tuning in. Before we begin, a real quick channel promo. Make sure you're paying attention so you can stay up to date on all things Rice. Sign up for my mailing list. Make sure you're following Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain, my two YouTube channels. Yeah, and here we go. Before we get into it, take time to visit my website at ricetvx.com. There you can sign up for my mailing list so you can stay up to date on all things Rice. Once you've signed up for my mailing list, you will find links for my channels and socials towards the top of the website. Make sure you are subscribed to both of my YouTube channels, Rice Against the Grain and Rice TVX. If you want to support my work directly, as well as get early access, exclusive content for both channels, plus more, join my Patreon. All right, so we're about ready to get this thing going. I always got to kind of kill a little time to allow for everybody to be able to join us for the live stream and to allow for YouTube to notify people that I am live and to hopefully get a little bit of suggestions through the algorithm if that is actually possible. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing going. This is actually something, now I've mentioned this in the past. I've talked about what I'm going to be talking about, but not since we've experienced the banking collapse that we're experiencing, that I still think is just beginning. Problem, reaction, solution, consolidation. This is all about consolidating the banking system down to the bigger banks, getting rid of the smaller banks and ultimately going to the central banks in the United States, your Federal Reserve. Look at FedNow. Look at for law changes for the Federal Reserve to be able to offer banking accounts to regular citizens, because as of now, that is illegal. but look for some changes and some language and some law changes to be made in the future because FedNow is going to be launching. We've seen this banking collapse. Now, what am I talking about with the Pope? Before I get into that, there's something I really quickly need to share with everybody. So, most of you may know that I have partnered up with Money Metals Exchange, but I had to re-update our terms because our original agreement had ran out and they're changing how they're doing things. So, the way this is working in the past, previously, you would have gotten a free half ounce of silver with a minimum of $100 purchase using the promo code RICE. That doesn't work anymore. So don't use the promo code RICE. There is no free half ounce of silver at this time. But what there is, and this is awesome. So I have a new link. It's not a code that you put in. You got to use the link, which is moneymetals.com/rice. And that'll take you over to moneymetals.com. With any purchase that you make within a specific month, because this is going to begin at the beginning of the month and end at the end of the month. And today is the 12th of April, which means that I'm 12 days late announcing this. So it gives even more opportunity for you to be one of the 3 winners. Every month, Money Metals Exchange is going to draw out of all the different people who make a purchase, any amount, using my link, moneymetals.com/rice, you will be entered to win 10 ounces of silver by making a purchase on moneymetals.com by the end of each month. And there will be three winners. And some of the things that I wanted to point out, that I've talked about in previous videos, you can see here, you can buy gold in small increments. And I pulled up that where you can see fractional gold coins and bars at the lowest price per gram or ounce. They've got all kinds of things, including vault gold, bar gold in 1 grams, half grams. They have 1 gram gold bars. They have the Pamp Swiss gold bars that are 1 gram. You can see they are out of stock. Now, considering what is going on with the banking collapse, considering what is going on with fiat money and people realizing what is happening, that they are losing purchasing power and their savings is being diminished because of inflation. Regardless of what today's CPI numbers have said, people are buying gold and silver. Silver is up right now, $25.72 per ounce, and gold is over $2,000 right now, sitting at almost 10% up today. Again, that's because of the CPI data, and it's at $2,025.60. So it is a good time for you to protect your assets and take advantage of my partnership with Money Metals Exchange. You can also buy the gold backs. Gold back is the world's first voluntary, spendable, interchangeable, small denomination physical gold. The smallest denomination is 1/1000th of an ounce, of a troy ounce of 24 karat gold. And there's a variety of different bills in different states that they offer via the gold backs. If you want to find the gold backs, you would just go on the website, click on the gold icon, and you'll see over here gold back currency. You would click on that and it would take you to this page. Okay, so to move on, again, there will be 3 monthly winners. I'll bring this up again at the end of today's live stream. And as soon as I'm done discussing everything that I was planning on discussing on today's video, I will come to the live chat. If you're new to my channel, you may not realize how I do the live streams, but what I try to do is make sure that I'm covering the main topic of information in the very beginning of the live stream. And then after I'm done covering everything, I come to the live chat and I see what everybody has to say or has been saying, because I do appreciate you taking the time, because time is our most valuable asset. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my live stream. I value that. And I will be making sure that I pay attention to what's going on with the chat as soon as I'm done talking about everything that we're going to be talking about today. Please take time to smash that like button, because it does help others, or they say it helps others, to find Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain videos, and it is much appreciated. So here we go. We all know what's transpired with the crypto industry throughout 2022 with the fall of Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, all the other entities, the question of what was going to happen with Grayscale via their parent company, Digital Currency Group, And then we saw the fall of FTX, which was kind of the big catalyst. And that was around November 11th. So actually what I would do is I want to just kind of go over a little timeline here. So November 11th was the FTX collapse, the beginning of that. December 22nd was the beginning of the fall of Silvergate Bank, which was one of the first banks to fall. That was before SVB and Signature. SVB was around March 10th. Signature was around March 12th. Deutsche Bank in Europe and Germany was I got these mixed up. Credit Suisse, which is in Switzerland, was around March 18th, and then Deutsche Bank was around March 24th. Now we see the introduction of FedNow. They've been talking about it's going to be launching in June or July. I think there's like onboarding going on right now with FedNow, which is if you think of it, it's the train tracks for the central bank digital currency. It's not the central bank digital currency, but it is a precursor to it, the 24/7, 365 instant payment platform. The government-sponsored PayPal is what I call FedNow, the government-sponsored PayPal. And I did do a video covering this topic. It's got a really demonic-looking picture of Jerome Powell on the cover with FedNow at the very top. And you guys should check that out if you want to get a little bit more information. So what happened, and this comes from this article, again, everything I always talk about is linked down below. This comes from the Catholic News Agency. And this isn't something that Rice would generally be reading on a daily basis, but it's a good resource for what we're talking about here. So this was published on August 23rd, 2022, and it's titled, Pope Francis Instructs Vatican Entities to Move All Funds to Vatican Bank by September 30th. The timing is very interesting. So Pope Francis has ordered that the Holy See and connected entities move all financial assets to the Institution for Works of Religion, the IOR, which is commonly known as Vatican Bank. The Pope's rescript issued August 23rd clarifies the interpretation of the paragraph in the new constitution of the Roman Curia. I'm not even going to read that Latin word. I mean, I'll try it. I'll try it in English. Predicate Evangelium. And it's promulgated in March. According to Francis's rescript, financial and liquid assets held by banks other than IOR must be moved to the Vatican within 30 days of September 1st, which means by October 1st, all in 2022, all the funds in Vatican-related entities should have been sent back to the Vatican Bank. The IOR, based in Vatican City State, has 110 employees and 14,519 clients. As of 2021, it looked at their 5.2 billion euros of clients' assets. Now, there's a little bit more information that you can read in there. I just wanted to point out that obviously the Pope knew something because he was instructing all assets to be sent back to the Vatican. And again, I don't think the timing is coincidental. And honestly, the more and more I research things, I stop believing in coincidence. So the next article I'm going to share comes from Reuters, and it was August 23rd, same day. The Pope further tightens controls, centralization of Vatican finances. Now, this had never happened before. So this is the first time that the Pope has done this, any Pope. So on August 23rd, Pope Francis acted to eliminate wiggle room or foot dragging by Vatican departments by imposing tighter financial controls, setting a deadline for the closing of investment portfolios in foreign banks, including in Italy. Now, they do say that let me see, because I was reading through this. Tuesday's papal document clarified that there are no exceptions to the rule regarding the central role of the Vatican Bank, officially known as the Institute for Works of Religion, as stipulated in the article of Vatican's new constitution. In July, the Vatican issued a new overarching policy on investments to ensure they are ethical, green, low risk, and avoid weapons, industries, and health sectors involved in abortion, contraception, and embryonic stem cells. The policy ordered Vatican departments to close their investment accounts or stock accounts in foreign banks, including in Italy. And one of the things that it was stating was that it was trying to make sure that there were no separate entities making outside financial investments. It basically tightening the financial controls and wanted to make sure everything was being done straight through the Vatican. A greater role for the bank is a key plank in the centralization policy that was announced last month, and that would have been back in 2022, August 23rd. It strips all Vatican departments of the ability to invest their funds independently because the Pope wanted all Vatican money sent back to his bank, to their bank that's not part of the global banking system, but interacts with the global banking system to basically ensure that none of the money of the Vatican would be lost. Because otherwise, why would the Pope have recalled all the separate entities to stop doing their own investments via their accounting and instead send all funds back to the Vatican Bank, issuing tighter controls? But the purpose of this, they're saying that they want to ensure that outside investments aren't being done that they don't agree with. That's not really obviously the reason this took place, because again, he wanted all the Vatican money to be back in the Vatican Bank by the 30 days from September 1st, which would have been by the beginning of October. So you could just say October 1st. Well, 41 days later, 42 days later, something like that, is when we start seeing the fall of FTX and then Silvergate Bank, which escalated a lot more beyond that. And we've seen this year in 2023, SVB Bank, Signature, Credit Suisse, Deutsche, among many others. The timing, again, is not coincidental. So I obviously am not a big fan of the Catholic Church. I don't have a problem with Catholics individually, but I have a problem with the Vatican and the Catholic Church in general. And I have a problem with the Pope, who declares himself Christ's representative on earth, which seems to go against everything that Christ said. But I'm not going to make this about anything religion or spirituality. This is all about the control and the power of the Vatican. The Vatican is an extremely powerful entity. It is one of the only 3 sovereign states. Because there's not really a nation. It's its own sovereign entity. Washington, D.C. is in the same status. The city of London is in the same status, and Vatican City is in the same status. Now, what I wanted to share that I found to be really interesting, and I'm just going to go ahead and go full screen on this. I was just trying to pull up some information about the Vatican's value and what they had as far as their assets and such. So this, maybe I have to go all the way down to the bottom to see when it was written, because I want to get the specific date, because I think it's been updated, but it gives some information here. It's not 100% up to date. Yeah, it's not like a real article that has like a information. But basically, we have a roughly the valuation of the Vatican Bank and the Holy See's assets is $65 billion. Financial statements from 2021 show that the Institute for the Works of Religion, also known as the Vatican Bank, earned a net profit of 18.1 million euros and had a total of roughly 2.8 billion euros in assets, which amounts to more than 3 billion after adjusting for inflation. The Vatican City Bank is a private financial institution with no branches that's been at the center of several financial scandals. In recent years, the church has worked to reform it. And last year, the Vatican's former finance minister, Father Juan Antonio Guerrero Alves, spoke with the Vatican News about the Holy See's financial statements for 2021, revealing that it had 3.9 billion euros in total assets. It's adjusted for 2023 dollars. That's almost 5 billion. The Vatican museums have an $8 billion valuation. The other incalculable assets are priceless, is what they say. And I'm sure that, if we think about the things that may be in the underground of the Vatican, that is immense. But we're looking at a roughly $65 billion valuation. The Vatican is an extremely powerful entity. And again, the banking crisis, the timeline of Silicon Valley Bank's collapse, and other key events. So if you want to look at this yourself and you want to share this information with your friends and your family, because again, what did the Pope know about the banking collapse that we're experiencing that he didn't necessarily share with the general public? And I would think that if the Pope is considering himself to be Christ's representative on earth, that he should be able to look out for the people. You would think. But obviously that's not the case. This is pretty much mostly what I wanted to cover on today's video. It was just something that I had thought about while I was in Florida. I had some time while I was traveling, and the thought had popped in my head. I had read something about the Vatican, and then I remembered what the Pope had ordered with this restrict, ordering all Holy See assets and currency and money to be sent back to the Vatican Bank, which again, the timing is everything. So I've mentioned my partnership with Money Metals Exchange. Some people might also know that I have a partnership with ITM Trading. They complement each other, but they're a little different from one another, because with ITM Trading, you really can't buy like silver bullion, and you really can't buy small amounts of precious metals. So I believe their minimum is a $5,000, but anybody who has $5,000 or more that they want to be able to protect their assets, you can schedule a free call, a free strategy call, a gold and silver strategy call, because after the many years of interviewing Lynette Zang from ITM Trading, I took an opportunity to call and find out what they had to offer. And then after having that phone call with just a general ITM employee, I talked with Lynette and told her how much I had learned. And she offered me an opportunity to collaborate and work with ITM Trading. So because you are a viewer or subscriber of Rice TVX, you can schedule a free phone call. Make sure that you're using the links that you see on the screen. I also have some information. Let me go ahead and change this up real quick. Information is scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. You can schedule that call by calling 866-516-5028, and that is a number that's very specific to my YouTube channel. And that way they'll know that you are a subscriber or viewer of Rice TVX. And if you want to learn a little bit more about this partnership, listen real quick, because here is the information. 30 seconds. I also wanted to share that I have recently partnered up with ITM Trading. So if you want to schedule a gold and silver strategy call to build your wealth shield and support Rice TVX, be sure to use my specific landing page that you see on the screen, and I will also include custom Calendly links and an 800 number that you can utilize to schedule your strategy call with the ITM Trading professionals. And again, it is a way to support Rice TVX. So one of the things that ITM Trading does that I really appreciate is one of their big strategies is pre-1933 gold. Because we're getting into a really unquestionable or very questionable time period with our financial status as far as each and individual nation, but just here in the United States. And in 1933, in case you don't remember, there was a Gold Confiscation Act. There were laws passed where it made it illegal for a U.S. citizen to own gold. The citizens were to sell their gold back to the government or sell it to the government at a little over $20 an ounce. Once the government had confiscated all the gold, they had then reevaluated the price to be about $35, which is about a 75% increase. And that is something that the government did. So is it possible that we could see another gold confiscation take place? It is absolutely possible. I'm not saying it will happen, But Lynette Zang does a really great job of explaining, and the team at ITM Trading, about how pre-1933 gold is unconfiscatable because it's pneumatic gold, as I believe is the term, and it's unconfiscatable because of the collector aspect of it. So take advantage of my partnership with ITM Trading. Learn.itm.com/RiceTVX. You can call the number that's scrolling across the bottom of the screen, the 866-516-5028 number, or you can schedule with the specific Calendly link. These are all going to be linked down below in the video description, and I will also include it in the pinned comment after this live stream. I will remind you about my new terms with my partnership with Money Metals Exchange. Let me go ahead and switch up the information that you're seeing on the screen right meow. You can enter to win 10 ounces of silver by making a purchase on moneymetals.com by the end of each month. This is the first I'm announcing this change in the terms and conditions of my agreement with Money Metals Exchange. No longer offering a half ounce of silver at this time, but you can enter to win 10 ounces of silver by making a purchase on moneymetals.com by the end of each month. I'm just announcing it today, so that means that you kind of have more opportunity this first month because there's not as many days, which means there's not as many customers that are going to be buying every time. Well, it's not every purchase gives you an extra entry. All you get is one entry by making a purchase between the first and last day of each month. You will be entered automatically to win 10 ounces of silver, and there will be 3 winners. But you got to use moneymetals.com/rice. You got to use that link specifically. If you do not use that link, moneymetals.com/rice, you may not be included in that drawing. So if you would like to be entered to win 10 ounces of silver every month, there will be 3 winners. Visit moneymetals.com/rice. Make any purchase, and you'll be entered to win between the first and last day of the month. And those are ways that you can support Rice TVX, and it would be greatly appreciated. If you would like to support me directly, I do have a Patreon you guys can check out. Trying to get that information up on the screen. But I am going to be replacing my Patreon with a private website. And until the website is being completed, which I'm hoping will be done by the end of this month, I am sending emails directly to all the private members with links to all the early access and exclusive content that I have been offering on Patreon. I will be ending Patreon. So if you do decide to join Patreon, just do it on a monthly basis. I'll probably give a 60 to a 90-day notice that I'm going to be terminating the Patreon channel. So you can still join on Patreon if you would like to, or if you want to get early access with the lifetime membership on my private website. 50 people will get lifetime access plus a special swag gift bag that I'm putting together with some patches, stickers, and some other items of Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain swag. You'll get lifetime access, and you can email me at ricemediagroup@protonmail.com. I have 37 people that have signed up, so there's only 13 spots left for the lifetime access. Otherwise, I will be charging on a monthly basis like Patreon does, but just replacing Patreon with my own website. So again, if you want lifetime access, that's a way that you can do that. And then the information scrolling across the bottom of the screen is my Patreon information if you would like to join up on Patreon. So what I'm going to do now is I pretty much have covered everything that I was planning on covering on today's video. So we're going to go to the live stream, live chat is what I meant to say, and see what everybody has to say. And I appreciate everybody for taking the time to tune in. If you're still with me and you have not smashed that like button, I ask that you please take time to give this video a thumbs up. B Team Crypto, thanks for tuning in. Johnny Midas, thank you. Vlad Daskula, I like that name. Very cool. Johnny Midas, thanks again, my friend. A lot after all, Vatican is a bank. Yes, Vatican is a bank, or has a bank, 100%. Patty Burns, thank you. The Pope knows all. He is head of the ecumenical movement, the church and state control. 100% agreed. Alexandre Parat, hello from Switzerland. Thank you for tuning in. I greatly appreciate. Freddie 44251. Meaning of 5x5 means can you hear me? Am I being heard? Are the words coming out of my mouth and do your ears receive them? Because sometimes I might be muted. Like if I press mute right now, but if I wasn't muted like I just was, you would hear me. So that's why I always ask people to give me a 5x5. Thank you. Polly P, thanks for tuning in, my friend. Gulag, it's good seeing you in the chat. A1, thank you, my friend. The Pope making plans to consolidate. The Pope is making plans to consolidate assets. He's making plans to make sure he's protecting his assets, is what he did. Protect your assets. And that's what I ask you guys to do with my partnerships with Money Metals Exchange and ITM Trading. So be sure to take advantage. Georgina Martinez from Southern California, thank you. I'm glad that you caught it live. Cam in 830. Internal audit balance the books. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. Jim Dillinger, the Vatican is the world's largest land and property owner. It can print money. Jim, I actually learned something. I thought that was true. The largest real estate owner, property owner, is McDonald's. McDonald's actually owns more properties than the Vatican. McDonald's actually makes their money basically more on real estate and then the franchise stuff. So that was something that I had learned about a year and a half ago, unless that's changed. Now, since we've had a lot of economic problems, maybe McDonald's has had to sell off some of that real estate. Who knows? But at one point, or still, McDonald's is the largest land and property owner. Jim Dillinger says, oh, yeah, they own New York, Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia. They own everything. Cameron, the Vatican is guarded by the Swiss guard the money. Yeah, and I've always thought that was interesting as well. What is the gentleman's name working on reclaiming one birth state in the UK? There's lots of them. And I'm actually going to be probably doing a video tomorrow. I'm determining whether I'm going to do it live or pre-record it, but I think I'm going to do it live. And it's going to be on Rice Against the Grain. If I don't do it tomorrow, it will be done Friday. It'll be one of the 2 days. Tomorrow's Thursday. So Thursday or Friday, I'm going to be doing an update about the legal fiction, talking about my trip to visit KL, and talking about where I stand. I'm going to go through all the different people I've interviewed, what I think about them, whether or not I recommend them, and why or why not. So stay tuned for that. Also, I got some information to reveal about David Not So Straight. And apparently he was arrested. So I'm trying to find out if him and his wife were arrested, and it had something to do with having fake tags. So pretty interesting. But that's on Rice Against the Grain. I have split that content up. Rice TVX focuses on crypto, economics, and politics. And Rice Against the Grain, we go down the rabbit hole of the stranger than fiction, conspiracies, the legal fiction, alternative, hidden history, spirituality, and so much more. And that's 2 YouTube channels. And I do have a link down below in the video description for Rice Against the Grain. I'm having a hard time to be able to communicate to most of the subscribers that I have a second channel. So I would appreciate if you like the Stranger Than Fiction content that you take an opportunity and you head over there and you subscribe and you hit that notification bell, because I'm reposting older videos and I've got lots of newer videos going on over there as well. Coming back to the live chat. See where I left off. Juana Song, thanks for tuning in. Seems the Vatican understood what rising interest rates would do to their current assets 100%. Again, what did the Pope know? The Pope isn't a CFA. Why would he give financial advice? No, I get it. But still, I guess you just making an announcement that the Pope is recalling all assets was kind of a way of him saying to people something without saying something. Thanks for tuning in, Alex B. Which video were you referring to? I know I'm probably late in this. I do not recommend Mark Christopher in any capacity, Jim Dillinger. I don't recommend anybody from the quantum grammar community. Don't waste your time with that, please. I like the Money Metals thing. I'm going to look into it, maybe get 1/1000th as a gift for family, even if they don't listen to me about what's happening. The gold backs are like artwork. I don't have them handy. I've made other videos in the past where I've showed the actual art from the gold backs. Let me pull that up real quick. I mean, these things are absolutely beautiful. So they have a Nevada bill, a Utah bill, a Wyoming bill, New Hampshire. It's not done by the states. It's done by individuals that are choosing to do this. I think they have one for Ireland as well. Yeah, they're out of stock of that. They have different denominations. Each denomination is bigger because it has more amount of gold. So it's not like the US dollars where they're all the same size. You can kind of almost, well, it's hard to see in one of these things, but since there's more gold in a 5, it's 1/200th of an ounce, where the $1 note is 1/1000th of an ounce. So each bill itself is larger than the previous bill because it has that much more gold. So it's showing you a picture of what they look like. That's the front, that's the back. This little part right here, this strip right there is where the gold is at. And so you can melt these down and you'll get the gold out of it. That's why it's called the world's first voluntary interchangeable currency. So there's another picture of the front. If I go back here, we can go back to the Nevada $1 gold back. That's the front of that one. I mean, they're beautiful. So that right there, again, that's the front version of where you can see the strip with the gold. And here's where you can see the different size denominations. So you see how the 5 is bigger than the 1, the 10 is bigger than the 5, the 25 is bigger than the 10, and the 50 is bigger than the 25 because they all have more gold. Each one has more gold. Henceforth, the larger denomination. So yeah, these make really great gifts. In addition to the little small bars, which I think were 1/100th of an ounce. Let me see here. 1 gram. 1 gram. Yeah, 1 gram is the smallest they sell in these little bars, 1 gram bars. But they're still very cool. And again, if you want to be entered to win that silver, you got to use that link, moneymetals.com/rice. Moneymetals.com/rice. And that will get you entered to win. Every month, you can have a chance to win 10 ounces of silver. And that would be like over $250 at this time. And there's going to be 3 winners of 10 ounces each. It's not going to be split between 3 people. 3 winners each get 10 ounces of silver via that partnership with Money Metals. All right, so let me go ahead and finish up, see what everybody else has to say, and then we're going to wrap up today's video. If you don't know, don't say it. Not sure what that's even about. I'm sure people are talking to each other on the conversation. I thought he did an interview with Rice TVX. If you're talking about Mark Christopher, no. I did interview Russell Foolsgould twice, and he was unable to perform, and I have since challenged him. And again, I will cover that more on Rice Against the Grain, and I have since deleted the interviews with Russell J. Gould. They're not available publicly because I don't want anyone in this world thinking that I support that individual in any capacity. So I would rather lose views on videos and delete things than have somebody think I support somebody. Unless it's very clear in the interview that I don't support you. And I was trying to give Russell, me and my friend Stan Barabbas, we were trying to give Russell a fair shake. So it is what it is. Eye wide open. I guess we have a Cyclops watching, or somebody lost an eye in an accident. Gold Confiscation Act said any person. Person is a fictional corporation. All cap name. Not a man or woman. Know who you are. Okay, well, I don't know if you're new to my content. Eye wide open, one eye wide open. What makes you think this corrupt government is going to honor anything that you may or may not think that you may or may not have achieved? What makes you think this corrupt government is going to honor that? I can bring up many instances of unconstitutional things that are going on. I can bring up instances where sheriffs have sued the government and went to Supreme Court and won, and the government's still doing the things that they lost against. And when shit really hits the fan, do you really think the government's going to honor any of that? And that's the reason why I'm focusing on solutions, my friend. I am looking into the legal fiction stuff, but the way that you said what you just said, you're not going to be able to articulate that and protect yourself. I wish you the best. 100% definitely smash that like button. And if you think I was rude with that, I kind of was. And that was my intention because unfortunately, and I'm not saying that you're not educated, unfortunately, a lot of people who study this law stuff are not. And a lot of people who study this law stuff are trying to get out of trouble, trying to get out of some CPS issue, or trying to get access to some money that they think that is theirs. So it's generally not people who come in this with good intentions or purposes. But go into a court situation and talk to a police officer and see if talking to them about being a person is going to get you out of any sort of legal situation. B team, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate Jim Montgomery. Howdy, y'all. Love the Pope wears is a hide, the reptilian tail. Yeah, I thought about actually putting a devil tail in the thumbnail, but I ended up not doing it. So Carl Nyman, thanks for tuning in. Howdy to you. Appreciate. Polly P, thanks again, man, for tuning in. Let me see if we have anything else. Afini Mazda, thanks for tuning in. Like number 50 on mine. Not really sure 100% what that means, but thank you. On Alexandre Parat, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. We are going to get ready to wrap things up. Kev Decrypt, Rice TVX. Appreciate my friend. The Jesuit Vatican owns the system of banking itself worldwide, and hidden wealth is beyond measurement. They definitely have a lot of control. I can't say that they own it. They have a lot of control, but there was still a reason why the Pope had recalled all assets back to a central bank, which was the Vatican Bank, out of the actual system, but basically his wallet. So the Pope knew something. The Ireland design will be the one. Yeah, unfortunately, they are sold out of that. I do think that they are planning on trying to get more in. I know as soon as they get out of an item that's out of stock, they really do try to replenish it because obviously those items are very popular. And being that is, I think, the only European-based gold back, because everything else seems to be United States, it's very popular. And we have a lot of Irish people in the world. So I appreciate you guys for taking the time to tune in. I do want to just take an opportunity to highlight a few things here. Over on Rice TVX, in case you didn't see the Bitcoin debate that I did with Crypto Factor on Around the Blockchain, check that out. Also, the video where I was talking about the banking collapse just beginning, I encourage you to check that out. If you want to learn more about Ron DeSantis banning central bank digital currencies in Florida, check that video out, as well as the video about FedNow. If you want to learn about FedNow, this is the video I was talking about with the demonic Jerome Powell. You got to watch this interview if you have not. Show Me the Law. Where is the Law? Show Me the Law with Dr. Sherry Peel Jackson, former IRS employee who lost against the IRS and ended up serving 4 years in jail. I'm going to be bringing you on Joe Bannister soon, who's a former IRS special agent who won against the IRS. Trying to bring on a variety of people, freedom fighters who trying to bring about change. On the live streams, the banking collapse video. This video is more information about banning central bank digital currencies. And if you head over to Rice Against the Grain, you'll see my latest interview, episode 4 with Alphonse Fagiolo. You will see my presentation that I gave at the Truth-a-thon 3, and then you will see my presentation from the Truth Tour 3. Plus, there's plenty of other videos that you may not even known that I put out. Interviews with Old World Florida, Jason Brashears from Archaics, and much more over on Rice Against the Grain. So make sure you subscribe to both channels. And again, head over to ricetvx.com and make sure you sign up for my mailing list right here. And once you do so, you will find links for all my social media sites. So I do appreciate everybody for taking the time to tune in for today's video. If you haven't, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to both channels. I got my homie Gary's Guzzler in the house. Let me see what Gary's going to say before we wrap things up. I watched your earlier video today, and I disagree with you on just one thing. The U.S. dollar is backed by the faith of the U.S. government. But the U.S. government is only out for self-preservation, not we the people. Well, Gary, I appreciate you sharing that. But the reason I said the dollar is backed by nothing is because in 1971, Richard Nixon officially took us off the gold standard, officially taking away any sort of backing. Yeah, no, it's actually what I would do is I would correct what you had to say. The US dollar is backed. It's not backed by the faith in the US government. It's backed by the guns of the military. That's what backs up the dollar is the guns, the military. That backs up the dollar. Nothing else. Because there's not really many people that have faith in the government. Let's be real here. And if you are one of those people who have faith in the government, you need to wake up. So I appreciate you sharing your opinion, Gary. David Brumbelow, it was supposed to be we the people, not we the government. The government doesn't have the ability to back any more than 6% of the cash that's printed. 100%. Well, they call it the petrodollar. The petrodollar because after 1971, they had to incentivize people to use the dollar because it was not backed by gold. You had many countries that were trying to get their gold back from the United States that were not able to get the gold back because Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard. We just literally just screwed over a bunch of nations, France included. So with that being said, after 1971, we made a deal with Saudi Arabia that all their oil would have to be sold in denominations of the US dollar. All oil in the world had to be sold in US dollars. No other currency could have been used for buying for buying oil other than the US dollar. And in return for that agreement with Saudi Arabia, the United States offered their military. So I'll go back again to say that the US dollar is backed by the guns of the military. And that's not a good thing because people are the rest of the world is starting to really wake up. They've been waking up, and there is this de-dollarization that was going on. It stopped under Trump's administration, and it's back underway. And it's back underway with even more invigorment than it was before because BRICS nation, they are introducing a global reserve currency and they are going to back it by gold. And we are seeing oil being traded in something other than US dollars. And we are seeing other nations that are trading things and don't want to use the US dollar. So this is the end, my beautiful friend. This is the end of the fiat system. It's not going to fall and crumble tomorrow. But it's happening. It's underway. It's unavoidable. There's no way to fix it. It's all by design. Because as soon as they're ready, when I say they, I'm talking about governments, I'm talking about central banks. As soon as they are ready, they are going to introduce slave coin to you. Your central bank digital currency. Your surveillance tool. So Big Brother, keep an eye on you. Appreciate you tuning in for today's video. Make sure you check out my must-watch crypto playlist. If you haven't hit that like button, I greatly appreciate if you do so. Before we wrap things up, as always, I encourage you to be a blessing to others. I encourage you to treat people how you want to be treated. Be the glitch that you want to see in the matrix. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Remember that you are both the problem and the solution. So stop being the problem and be the solution. Practice change.